Very pleasant morning, everyone, and IHM welcomes every one of you for another interesting and exciting talk show. As we promise, IHM brings the leaders, hospitality experts from different part of the world, and adding into it, we have a great personality who joined all the way from Indonesia to interact with you all. My name is Ernest Emmanuel, live streaming and reporting from IHM Career Studio, Hyderabad. Today, we have a special guest with us, the most energetic and dynamic leader in the hospitality industry, and of course, very down to earth person, and one of our close associates for IHM Model Schools, Mr. Ravi Kubchandani. So, all the way joined from Indonesia, he's a general manager for Novotel Bali International Airport, a global hotelier who earned his early spurs in New Zealand and worked in many hotels and held up multiple roles across the location of India. After studying hotel management in IHM and the Wellington Institute of Technology, New Zealand, Mr. Ravi spent 8 years working in New Zealand, specializing in pre-openings, renovations, and business turnarounds. Then he moved to Pune as the head of the Ibis Hotel there. Then he moved to Ibis Gurgaon as the general manager. At the same time, he completed the leadership development program at Academy Accor in Singapore in 2012-13. As a general manager of Novotel Hyderabad Airport, he was honored as the general manager of the year by BW Hotelier and Accor India for his exceptional contributions to his hotel and to the profession at large. Mr. Ravi now is taking as a leadership role as a general manager for Novotel Bali International Airport, which offers direct access to the departure terminals to the airport that brings the world to one of Indonesia's busiest tourist and business destinations. Mr. Ravi always focused on enhancing the overall guest experience, stimulating a stellar growth in revenues, and developing a talented and committed team to manage the hotel operations in a fast evolving business environment. Also, Mr. Ravi enjoys exploring new destinations and cultures, and it is fond of road trips with his friends and family. Ladies and gentlemen, join with me. It is my immense pleasure to invite Mr. Ravi Kubchandani to our IHM Career Studio for interacting with our students. And before I call him, I take this privilege to call our dear chairman, Dr. Subarna Bose, who is the CEO of IHM Hotel Schools, for welcoming Mr. Ravi Kubchandani and also a few words about this session. Over to you, Dr. Bose.
Very good morning, Ernest, and very good morning, Mr. Ravi. Welcome to IIHM Masterclass series. And we are with a very interesting bunch of very interesting students who have just joined us last week for what is the batch 2 of the 2020 Intech. And we have got some absolutely enthusiastic students here who are waiting to listen from the master like you about the basics of hospitality, because this is the first week, this is the induction week, so we want everyone to listen to the people who made it big. One is for the inspiration, and secondly to learn from the masters themselves, because they will be actually learning from all the leaders of the industry. So once again, thanks very much for being with us from all the way from one of my favorite destination, Bali. And I'm sure that next time when I go to Bali after pandemic, where to stay. And look forward to our next 1 hour or so of very, very enriching talk from you. And these are new students. They have just joined last week. They are just getting into the grasp of what hospitality is. I'm sure looking by their body language, I can say they are enjoying a lot of IHMness. And that's what we are all very are interested to make sure that they inducted with a happy hospitality DNA, and they 3 years from now, they pass out and work in a company like yours as a very happy hospitality professional. So once again, thanks on behalf of the entire team out here. Of course, you know all of us. We have worked with you, and I think I met you in Pune. I met you in Gurgaon as well. And when I met you and you came, and I was possibly having a coffee in the Abyss in Aero City when we met last time with Abdullah. And it was such a pleasure to catch up and such a pleasure to welcome you to speak to our very, very new but very, very enthusiastic bunch of students here and there. So students, once again, this is part of the IIHM education. As I say, I repeat, please keep your notes ready. Please keep your pens and laptops ready to take down the notes. These are not YouTube lectures. These are the actual learning from the masters, and that is what IIHM education stands for. That is what IIHM makes a huge difference between what others do and what we do, because here we make sure that you learn from the people who made it big, the people who are the leaders, and the people who had gone through your phase of life. So have fun, enjoy the lecture, but make sure this is IIHM education. Take down all the points, and please, please, please keep your camera open so that we make sure you are actually listening and not sitting in the WC. So over to you, Mr. Ravi, for you. Stage is all yours, Mr. Ravi. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you.
Thank you so
I'm
much,
sure.
Dr. Bose. And Mr. Ravi, before I come to you, and I have my fellow colleagues who have joined from the different part of the city, and to welcome you. Thank you so much, Dr. Bose. As Dr. Bose rightly said, with learning from the masters, please, I would request everyone to switch on your videos and start taking notes. And it's not a YouTube sessions; it's a learning from the masters. So quickly, before I call Mr. Ravi, I would like to call my fellow colleagues who joined from the different cities. I have Sanchari ma'am here, the campus director of IIHM Hotel Schools, Bangalore, to come and say hi to Mr. Ravi. Over to you, Sanchari ma'am.
Thank you so much, Iman. A very good morning to you. Good morning, sir, Dr. Bose, who's here. And thank you so much, sir, for the very, very energetic, you can say, wonderful, you can say comments that you've in fact given to all students. I'm sure they're looking forward to this great session by Ravi. Welcome, Ravi. So happy to see you here after a long time. And thank you so much for your, you can say your all the time support that you give to IIHM and to all of us and to all our students. So today is definitely a great day because you're going to be starting the day with all students on a very, very positive and great note. And I'm certain that, all our students are looking forward to understand your journey and taking it on a great hospitality career with themselves. So welcome aboard, and we look forward to a great session by you. Over to you,
Thank
man.
you, Sanchari ma'am. And quickly, I'd like to call the dynamic leader, the campus director, Mr. Rupinder Khurana, joined from the city of Pune, the campus director of IIHM Pune campus. Over to you, Mr. Rupinder.
Hello, good morning once again, Ravi. It's indeed a pleasure to reconnect with you. You were one of the first few persons I had contacted, the general managers in Pune, and you were at the IBIS Pune, and I think one of the closest in location geographically to our campus. So it was indeed a pleasure meeting you then and to be in touch with you on our social media handles. So I've been in touch with you on Facebook. So you've been a great inspiration then and even now. So congratulations on your new designation where you are in Bali. And it's indeed a pleasure to reconnect. And I'm eagerly awaiting your session where you would be speaking to our very new first years, and looking forward to a great session today. And congratulations once more on this movement to an international destination, which is Bali.
Thank you so much, Mr. Rupinder. And we have Mr. Samir Mehta, who all the way joined from the city of Goa. Samir Mehta is the campus director of IIHM Goa. Over to you, Samir.
Thanks a lot, Imran. Mr. Gupchandani, namaskar from the another tourism capital of the world, Goa. And honestly, congratulations on being there in Bali, because if there's some places in the world which a resident of Goa can be jealous of, I think Bali is one of them. So, but very importantly, I think it's very important for our students to know exactly how tourism industry progresses, flourishes all over the world. And for that, sir, your insights would be fantastic. Therefore, along with the students, I'm eagerly waiting to hear from you. How exactly should our students proceed, progress, and look at hospitality industry in the future? So really looking forward to this session, sir.
Thank you, Samir. And quickly, I'd like to call Professor Debashish Ghosh, the campus director of IIHM Ahmedabad, who joined all the way from the city of Ahmedabad. Over to you, Mr. Ghosh.
Thank you, Emmanuel. Good morning, sir. Good morning, Mr. Ravi Khubchandani. Welcome to today's session. I'm sure that the students are very excited to hear about your experience and your story. And we are very grateful that you have been coming over here. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ghosh. I think I have Ms. Reena, the campus director of IIHM Jaipur, who joined here to say hi to you. Over to you, Ms. Reena.
So good morning, Mr. Khubchandani. We have met very briefly when I was with a co-colleague of Mr. Khurana while you were in Pune. Very, very envious of where you are right now, one of the most beautiful destinations. Your journey, I've just been going through your profile and has been really wonderful. And the students are really going to learn a lot about, self-development that you have, done and achieved to be where you are today. And it's going to be great learning. And thank you for being here. Thank you, Emmanuel, sir, for making it happen. And very good morning, Dr. Bose. So this is really going to be great and looking forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Reena ma'am, for joining with us today morning. Coming back to you, Mr. Ravi, as Dr. Bose rightly said, we have a young and very young hospitality aspirants who started their career, 3 days back. And there are 500 students would be watching your session in this platform and some from the FB Live Pan-India. So you have almost 20 years experience in hospitality industry. You held up various roles, and you are a true inspiration for many young students. So please share with us about your journey, your success story, how enjoying your hospitality life. Please share with us. It would motivate every one of us here. Over to you, Mr. Ravi. Stage is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Anasti, and thank you, Mr. Bose, Satri, Rupenda, Renu, and Mr. Ghosh. And thank you all of you for a very warm welcome and an introduction, which I'm not very sure whether I'm deserving of or not, but it was very kind and very humbling. I've of course been associated with the representatives of IIHM for almost a decade now, and we were just speaking with Rupenda. That was 2011 when we first had an interaction, and that was the time when I caught up with Mr. Bose. And then, of course, we caught up in Gurgaon, and I think Mr. Bose probably, I don't know if you remember or not, we recently caught up in Calcutta as well at the Novotel. There was an event about 1.5 years, 2 years back. So yeah, the association, of course, goes back a long way, and I must compliment you to start with in terms of where the institution has come, has come to through the years. I think it's done a phenomenal job in terms of curating the structure. I think that's where you've been absolutely amazing, because you give your students exposure to what the industry would really look like. I think if we probably would have had something similar to that in the younger days, we would have also been very fortunate. We've had our great times, but I think with the new age, the use of technology, much like this call and a few other things that you do, giving your students literally global exposure, I think it's commendable. So many congratulations to you to start with. And I think I must at the onset congratulate all the students. You mentioned about 500 this time around, and given a conversation a few days back, this time the number is probably a little less, and I'm sure there's going to be a larger intake, hopefully towards the later part of the year. But I must congratulate all the students to start for choosing an outstanding industry. I don't think I can vouch for anything more than the industry itself. They have, they've chosen something which is going to provide them with phenomenal opportunities to be able to experience different cultures, to be able to experience different aspects of life, to be able to, grow and evolve into, great professionals, but also, amazing human beings, because, the kind of exposure that you get in hospitality, I don't think any other industry can possibly promise that. So it's just 3 days, as you mentioned, for the students. So I think, they're up for an amazing future. That is something that I can, mention right at the onset of the call. I don't know, where to start really, to be honest, because I think, I've covered a lot of things in my last call with regards to my journey. So I'm just going to give a quick, I mean, you've mentioned all and more about what I have done. I don't think I could have penned it in a better format myself. So I think the students probably already have an exposure in terms of understanding of what I've done. I'll still, quickly touch base on what I've done in the past. I mean, I started my career in New Zealand, as you mentioned, and I was quite fortunate to be in a country where you could have the opportunity of working part-time, studying full-time, and doing, basically exposing yourself to the real world much sooner. And I think we, like I said in my last call as well, I think we are evolving to that in India as well, which is a great thing. And like I said, I was quite fortunate to be exposed to right in my early days to multiple properties, to multiple opportunities. In Wellington, I started with a core. The same organization that I'm associated with now, and the one that I've represented for a large part of my career, and worked with different properties there in IBIS, in Mercure, and in Novotel. Did various jobs, starting as a night auditor, then moving on to day duty management shifts, and then moved to Auckland again with the same organization with the core, and I was I was the second in command of a small boutique hotel right in the heart of Auckland, which is the commercial capital of the country. And then from there, I kind of took a quick sabbatical, and then when I headed back to New Zealand, I was basically I joined a resort setup in the heart of Rotorua, which is like Goa for us in India, or like Bali for us here in Indonesia. So that was my I keep getting my callings from from resort and lifestyle destination, so to speak. So there I was with that organization for a few years, with my last assignment in New Zealand being that of an EAM for a pre-opening flagship setup. And after that, Core was kind enough to have me back into the organization, take me back into the family as, and that was my first unit head role. I was managing IBIS Pune, and that's the time when I met Rupinder and I think Mr. Bose for the first time. Just trying to get to understand as to how India really operates. But it was great fun there, and we had some great achievements to accredit. And then after that, the second assignment was IBIS Gurgaon. I think it was quite a challenging assignment because the market conditions were quite unfavorable, to say the least. But we did quite well, and we had massive achievements and accolades to accredit. And then after that, Hyderabad was another amazing journey with a phenomenal team. We had again some great achievements to accredit. Now IBIS has been more of a corporate kind of a setup, and Novotel Airport was, although by the virtue of its name, it's an airport hotel, and it was in close proximity to the airport, but was purely, largely a MICE hotel. We did have crew business and other public business, but it was largely a MICE hotel as well, with huge weddings up to 5,000 people, large pharma events, automotive events, the works, and then after that. I've been here in Bali for, time has just flown by. It's almost a year now. Bali, of course, it's a very different role. One would assume that I'm in a resort location like, most of my fellow GMs would be, but I'm right at the airport. So this makes it a true blue airport setup, which is very different to what you would find otherwise in Bali. So that's been my broad brushstrokes of my professional journey. But I think, like I said, I've been extremely fortunate to be exposed to various aspects of business, various market types, because a corporate city is very different to a leisure city, to a to a lifestyle city, and similarly, the properties, they have been in different life stages, some right at the opening, some going through a massive refurbishment, some through a business upliftment cycle. It's been, like I said, I've been extremely fortunate from that point of view. Now, talking about, I think, like I asked you, what exactly do you want me to speak to the students about? And you mentioned that it is about giving them an overview with regards to what the industry can possibly offer to them in the years ahead. So, like I said, all 500, I don't know how many of them are on the call right now, but I can tell them that they have taken the absolute correct decision by getting into the industry, which is going to present to them with Amazing opportunities, and a lot of them. And for hospitality professionals, the general perception is, when a lot of us, I mean, if I go back to my years of college, or my third day in college, where I had probably like a zillion questions in my mind as well. If I basically take myself to that point of time, I can quite relate to the kind of questions that the students will be having in their mind. Have we taken the right decision by joining the industry? More so given the kind of environment that we're in right now, given the pandemic. Is this better than something else that we could have done? Are there going to be enough and more campus opportunities, or opportunities otherwise? Are we going to become global citizens? Because that is also an aspiration for a few of us. I think the answer to all these questions, I'll try and sort of at the onset sum it up with a yes, but just to sort of give you more slightly deeper insights into what the future might look like. I don't unfortunately have a crystal ball that I can gaze through and give all the prophecies, but from my own experience and from what I have seen and learned from my colleagues through the years, I think the opportunities, there'll be a lot of there have been a lot of opportunities, and now the opportunities are only growing, because the industry has truly become global in the true sense of the word. And even for the new age professionals, the ones who are in the third day of their induction, it's going to be a very, very, very global industry, not just with the advent of international operators working on the Indian terrain, but even otherwise. I think the industry generally has become extremely global, and it's as long as diligence is there, as long as sincerity is there, I mean, the world could truly be a playground. I mean, there is no reason why you could not aspire to do larger than life things. So this industry, my opinion about this industry, of course, is going to be a bit biased towards hotels, because that's what I have been extremely fond of, and that's what I have I've not touched base on a few other things that I've done in my life, and I've kept it as a well-guarded secret. But beyond that, I think what the industry offers to you, I don't think any other industry could possibly be able to offer that in that volume, in that proportion. And like I said, my opinion about the hotel industry in terms of opportunities beyond this education are going to be definitely more biased, because that's what I have mostly been a part of. But there are going to be many other opportunities outside. I mean, hotels, there are different verticals, and the students, of course, would have already been briefed maybe at the time of the initial induction, probably well before they went for their industries. Historically, we had this mindset that we have the culinary domain, we have F&B, we have front office, we have housekeeping. Historically, this was the concept that this is it. This is the industry, and there is nothing more to the industry beyond it. But I think we've come a long, long way. I mean, this was perhaps the perception about 20 years ago, but now we've come a long, long way in terms of what the industry presents in terms of opportunities, and they're immense. So apart from these 4 core verticals that everybody incidentally gets to know of, there are specialization roles. I mean, even IT is there, even revenue management. Most hotel professionals who are very good with numbers, they basically move towards revenue management. Then we've got marketing, we've got PR, communication, and a lot of hotel graduates incidentally take up on these opportunities as they evolve into strong professionals through the years. So and this is, I'm still having a rather myopic view, looking at the hotel opportunities only. But beyond that, the industry, if you speak about the larger industry, there will be opportunities with travel agencies. There will be opportunities more with the OTAs now than the conventional travel agencies, because they have evolved as a much stronger partner through the decades. And event management. I mean, some of the students can become entrepreneurs tomorrow, and they can have their own event management or wedding planner setups. They're very good with creatives. They can do something that can contribute to the digital space of the industry tomorrow. So the ancillary fields are also providing a lot of opportunities for hotel professionals, or the new age hospitality students. And beyond that, I think there is still a world even beyond that. The service industry, at large always values the attributes or the skill sets that the students, the hospitality professionals or hospitality students bring on board. And like I said in my last call as well, it could be by the virtue of exposure that they get in esteemed colleges like the one that all you ladies and gentlemen represent, or by the virtue of being a part of the industry. And more so if you've been associated with the industry for a wee while, I think the opportunities then of course become even larger. And I think the students can, and I'm sure they do, draw a lot of inspiration from all the principals and the students who have been a part of the industry in the heydays, and you have then evolved to becoming leader makers of the future. So this in itself is another opportunity that the students can sort of look at capitalizing on, in case if they want to mix the best of both worlds, being hospitality and education. So I think literally, the world is your playground, like I said, be it by the virtue of location, be it by the virtue of industry, be it by any virtue, the opportunities will be immense. And I don't think there could have possibly been a better industry. And for the students who've chosen the industry, there possibly couldn't have been a better choice than this. I don't know. I think Mr. Ernest, you mentioned that there would probably, you would probably, the students were probably concerned about the pandemic and what the world would look like around the pandemic, and after that. I don't know if you've got any specific questions around that, or if the students have got any specific questions around that.
Yes, Mr. Ravi, there are a lot of questions are coming up. In fact, the students are eagerly, waiting, looking forward for all your answers. So just that's the one question. The student would be getting in the job market in 2023. So already the industry started reviving, and it is coming back. So what is your view on revival of the hospitality industry, and what would be the job opportunities, because the entire hospitality industry being reinvented? So what would be the more job opportunities when they come in the job market? Over to you, Mr. Ravi.
I think the pandemic, of course, hasn't hit the industry alone. We've been, of course, very severely hit, but that's the case with pretty much any industry globally. Any part of the world, any industry has been hugely impacted by the pandemic. Some of course, perhaps a bit more than the others. Some coincidentally, a very few industries have incidentally benefited out of the pandemic as well, like the OTT industry, or the telecom industry. But these have been, we cannot generalize them as a story. But what has really happened is that every industry, by and large, has been impacted by the pandemic, and we have, perhaps been more strongly hit by than as compared to some of the other industries, because the perception associated with the hospitality industry is also that of luxury and leisure. There are business travels as well, which have also been curtailed, and the whole world is has moved towards Zoom calls at the onset, like the one we are doing right now. I don't think we've heard of we had ever done a Zoom call before the pandemic, and now WhatsApp video calls and Zoom calls and so many other platforms, they've become a norm of sorts. Talking about 2023, I think when the pandemic is really going to get over, and when the world is going to be absolutely normal again, my guess would be just as good as anybody else's. And like I said, I unfortunately don't carry a crystal ball with me that I can gaze through and give strong prophecies. What I can definitely say though, that we humans, we are a very resilient lot. It's not the first time that the world has seen something so drastic. In our lifetimes, perhaps, yes. I can be sure that I haven't seen anything as extreme as this in my life before, and I can probably say the same for most of us on this call right now. But the human resilience would prevail, and we are going to come out of it. And I guess sooner than, it's going to happen sooner than later, because the entire world, all the energies are focusing towards, either developing a vaccine or finding some kind of, combat measures. They could be on the lines of social distancing, they could be on the lines of hygiene protocols, they could be on the lines of, various other ways with which, we could have some semblance of normalcy, post the pandemic. or right now, I think we're still in the pandemic. We haven't actually gotten out of it as yet. So, it's definitely going to come to an end, sooner or later. Now, when is it going to be perfectly normal? I don't think I have an answer for that. But what I can definitely say is that it's important for us to keep our chins up. It's important for us to keep honing our skills. It's important for us to not, let this, bring us down in any way at all. Because when the opportunities come up, it's important for us to be ready to capitalize on them. And we should, we could look at it as a bit of a slow period, for a lack of better word, where we can try and squeeze out more time for developing our own skills. And like I said, and be ready for the time when the opportunities do spring back, and we should be prepared to capitalize on them. And 2023, to be very honest, is very, very far away. By that time, if we have to go by the market projections, it's going to take a couple of years for the market to come back to 2019 levels. If the market reports are to be believed. So 2023, I don't think this lot needs to worry about it. And I think if anybody should be more concerned, should be the ones who graduated right now. And even for them, my word of advice would be to keep the chin up and stay strong. Not let this get to you, because it is going to pass. It is surely going to pass. Just try and work on as many of your personality aspects as you can during this low period, so that you come out as better professionals, more prepared professionals when the time is right.
Thank you so much, Mr. Yavi. Rightly said, we keep our chin up and we stay strong. Definitely we'll overcome this situation. It's just a phase of our life. And there is one more interesting question has come from the student Karthick. You worked, as a general manager in Novotel Hyderabad Airport. Now you're working as a general manager in Novotel Bali International Airport. So, what is the difference? Is there any difference in the airport hotels and other commercial hotels, and how the operations differ? Over to you, Mr. Ravi.
Okay, hi Karthik. I think the first thing I would say is that my two airport hotels have been strikingly different. Let alone the difference between other hotels that I worked in. And much on the lines of what I mentioned when I was giving a brief about my career story. Novotel Hyderabad Airport was about 3 kilometers away from the airport. It was still the closest hotel to the airport, because everything else was still, everything decent was still about 25-30 kilometers away. So we were an airport hotel by that virtue. And I think Mr. Ernest, you've been to the campus, or you've been to the hotel. Sanchri, I believe, has been, not I believe, I'm sure she's been to the hotel twice. I don't know about the rest of the leaders, if you've had an opportunity to come to the hotel, but it was nothing like a conventional airport hotel. Your conventional airport hotels are straight blocks, people checking in, checking out. You've got your length of stay of averaging 1 day, if that. Sometimes could be even shorter than that with transit passengers, and the requirements and the expectations of the passengers are just a quick bite and a good night's sleep. And sometimes it's a good day's sleep, because if they're transiting during day hours, they just want to come and quickly sleep for 4 hours during the day, take a shower and head out. Well, that's a conventional airport hotel, but Novotel Hyderabad Airport was really far from it. We were big on weddings, we were big on MICE, we were big on events, pharma events, automotive events, government events, and we used to work with a lot of setups that were in the catchment, in the immediate catchment, and they had global partners coming and doing events with them. Basically, we were the hosts for the events. So, and it was spread on a large land parcel. We were sitting on a land space of about 5 acres, which is not like an airport hotel. And we had a beautiful hillock at the back of the property where we used to do off-roading events. We had so it was really not an airport hotel. The only thing airport about it was the proximity to the airport and the fact that we used to cater to crews and we used to cater to transit passengers off and on. My current hotel is a real, true blue airport hotel. It's right inside the airport premises, and we cater to quite literally passengers who are transiting most. And we have some small MICE business as well, but the biggest chunk of business happens to be transit passengers. So even two airport hotels, just by the you can't actually give a straight jacket perception to a hotel just by the virtue of its name. They're chalk and cheese, in all honesty. And If I have to speak about the other opportunities that I have been fortunate to to have through the years of my career, um, business hotels, IBISs are generally business setups. Now the operations, I think Karthik's question was, how are the operations different? So now I think I'll be in a better condition to answer the question specifically. They're very different. You have to adapt to the requirements of the customers, of the business, and of the location. Now, being at the airport, being on a beach, being in a business city, the guest would want different things. And like I explained briefly, what a transit passenger would want, what a wedding client would want, what a MICE client would want who's staying with you for perhaps 4 days, their expectations are different. A MICE client will spend days and weeks and sometimes months discussing the menu with you as to this is what they want for the groom, this is what they want for the bride, this is what they want for the bride's mother, this is what they want for the uncles and the aunts, and so on and so forth. A transit passenger, his requirements would be, just give me a pizza, just give me a burger, let me sleep, and I'll push off the next morning. So you have to, and pace becomes, or the paucity of times becomes your primary focus in terms of how you're going to address the requirements of that guest in that case. Your corporate clients, their requirements could be very different. I mean, their requirements could be, of course, they're traveling extensively, so they want a good, quick meal every time they're traveling for business, and they want a good night's sleep, and they also want a decent transportation connectivity. So you have to adapt your business model to reflect all those requirements. You have to train the team, attune the team to be able to cater to the requirements of the customers accordingly. So yes, every property is different. The requirements, the business requirements are different. But like I've always said, at the heart of it all, the core of it all is service. So as long as we understand that we are there to provide service, and we are willing to learn from the requirements of the guests and adapt to them, I think we would be able to find a way.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ravi. You rightly said and explained the operations of the airport hotel. So there are many students asked one question. In fact, you might have come across with many challenges. How do you face all these challenges? How did you overcome, and how you keep yourself motivated all the times? And most importantly, when you get stressed, how you're handling, how make you to handle, and how you are getting yourself motivating yourself. Over to you, Mr. Ravi.
I think challenges, if you really look at challenges, therein lies the opportunities. I mean, if you look at, if there'd be no challenges, there'd be no opportunities. The challenge is in overcoming them and, looking at them as an opportunity at the end of the day. So, and there will be various, various challenges, that one would encounter in hospitality or any other profession for that matter. There could be, challenges with your teams. There could be challenges with the market dynamics. There could be challenges like the one that we're facing right now, which is bigger than ever before, the pandemic. Recession, flight cancellations. I mean, the list is endless. The list is absolutely endless. And dealing with challenges, I think one thing that we need to be aware of is that we are not the only one dealing with challenges. When challenges come, they come for most of us. It's then about us as to how we try and find the best way out of it. I think in my last call as well, there was one of the examples that I gave. We've gone through a lot, on the Indian terrain. I mean, let alone this pandemic. Even before that, there were taxation changes, and everyone was in an absolute frenzy. How do we basically deal with these GST changes? How do we deal with some other changes? But it was about gearing up your system at the soonest possible and finding ways to ensure that what you're doing is basically, of course, being compliant at all times, and at the same time finding an opportunity in those challenges. And I don't want to go into greater details as to how we found an opportunity in that challenge, but in every opportunity, as long as you're able to respond to it quickly, put your head down, focus, work with your team, come up with a solution, come up with an action plan, and execute it diligently, I think you would be able to overcome most challenges. And some challenges that don't have a solution, I don't think anybody has a solution for those. So you just have to roll with the punches. Then there is you also need to be a bit thick-skinned and to be able to learn as to know that not everything will have a solution, and something you just have to take a beating and move forward. Otherwise, stress will kick in. If you try and change the world overnight, that's when stress would possibly kick in. And things sometimes also take time, and you need to be diligent, you need to be perseverant, you need to be patient to be able to bring them to a fair culmination or to a fair solution. So that's that's what I would say about challenges and stress, and how do I keep myself away from stress. I think just look at things positively. I mean, that's all I can say. I mean, there will be challenges, and I think my family is my biggest anchor, and even your colleagues. I think as long as you can forge strong connections and relationships with, and you probably can't do that with everyone, but you can find colleagues who can help you through the challenges. I think that's the best remedy for stress.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ravi, and rightly said. And we always keep positive, and we always keep us motivate and move forward. So, Mr. Ravi, there is one more interesting question. I have joined this hotel management course, and I want to become a general manager like you. And what are the basic qualities I should have? And adding to this question, the another question, and when you are a general manager, when you go for recruitment, what do you expect from the students? Over to you, Mr. Ravi.
Okay, I don't know why just a general manager. There is a much bigger world beyond that. I've got a lot of bosses, and they should aspire to be my boss someday. So, in a nutshell, from any professional's perspective, be it a HOD or a general manager, and like I said, I've got many more bosses above me. So, for anyone to basically get there, sincerity and diligence is absolutely paramount. There is no shortcut, to hard work. There's no shortcut to success. You have to be extremely diligent, and perseverance is always the key. But knowing what's happening in the world, and constantly making an effort to keep yourself abreast and keep yourself updated and keep yourself ready for what the world has to possibly throw at you. That's extremely important. And the world is actually changing at a very, very fast pace. Technology or other attributes of business that are relevant today are going to be absolutely redundant tomorrow. Something that we used to work with about 5 years back, and if you look at it today, and it seems absolutely ancient. So the pace of evolution, that's going to be extremely important. It's not just about what we do in these 3 years of college, but in life in general. Beyond that, I think adaptability and agility would be the most crucial things, to be able to understand what's happening, to adapt to the environment, to quickly change your course if you have to, or tweak it or amend it as required. And the ones who would be able to do it fast will be the ones who will be able to last. So, that's what I would say about it. And much on these lines, when we are going for, for interviews, there are a lot of things that we are looking at in terms of recruitment. We are looking at and at different stages of hierarchy or different departments or different verticals. There could be certain requirements which are job specific. Like a revenue manager, you don't really need to be a smooth talker to be a revenue manager. You need to be great with numbers and Excel spreadsheets. So those are skills that are specific to domains. But at the same time, if you there are certain basic attributes that are absolutely crucial, and I think diligence and adaptability and agility will be more important than ever before.
Thank you, Mr. Ravi. And quickly, I have to ask this question to you. And regarding entrepreneurship, now IIHM, have started an entrepreneurship cell called Sahas. Dr. Bose is initiated this, and it launched in all our IIHM campuses 3 months back. And the Sahas will closely work with the students and identifying their entrepreneurship skills and helping them and counseling them in the right way. And it's not only with the counseling, and also Dr. Bose kept $3.5 million as a corpus fund for the students, those who want to start up their own business, and they can get into Sahas. Sahas will have, internal advisory board members and external advisory board members, and they will help the students. So what is your view on entrepreneurship, and how do you think that the entrepreneurship can be a great career, and creating a young entrepreneurs in the world? Over to you, Mr. Ravi.
I think it's a very very different domain, but still similar to what we do as professionals. I think, you always have to think out of the box. You always have to find opportunities and challenges. Being an entrepreneur, the key difference would be that you might not have a lot of cushion around you, and you could be representing the organization yourself. You would have to have perhaps higher levels of motivation and higher levels of drive to be able to push through some of the most difficult times, and that would be the primary difference between being a conventional professional and an entrepreneur. The major attributes to be successful in either domain, be it as an employee or an entrepreneur, I think they're generally going to remain quite similar. But the challenges, the core difference, that you might not have a huge support system as an entrepreneur. You yourself are your support system, and you actually become the support system for others in your organization. Well, that's the primary difference. So mentally, one has to be probably more resilient and be willing to perhaps take more beating if it has to be that way. Even if you look at the pandemic, I think the small scale entrepreneurs have been more fiercely impacted, and do they have the financial standing? Do they have the mental capability, and do they have the resilience to be able to sail through it and then come out at the other end of it? That is the key difference. But to be successful as an entrepreneur, it's about the mindset. I mean, if that's what you really want to do, if you really want to take the plunge, and if you're willing to go with everything that entrepreneurship throws at you, and a lot of challenges at the onset, licensing, marketing, making your product or your brand known to people. So these will be additional challenges that you would have to work upon versus what you would be doing as a conventional professional with a larger conglomerate. As long as you're mentally prepared and you understand the nuances involved in it, and are willing to give you 100%, I think that's a wonderful option to be. And the beauty of it is that in the bargain, you provide employment to a lot of others.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ravi. And nicely said about entrepreneurship, because now IIHM curriculum is also being incorporated with the entrepreneurship as one of the major subjects. So we started from the year 1, and we are training the students, and also we are trying to create the young entrepreneurs. So, Mr. Ravi, moving ahead, and I have one good final question. You have seen IIHM model schools over the year, more than decade you are seeing, and you have seen the development of the IIHM hotel schools under the able leadership of Dr. Bose, and I think you would agree that IIHM is one of the world-class center of excellence and creating a lot of successful hoteliers. And what are the activities we do, like Young Chef Olympiad, many activities we do. So few words about this IIHM and activities, and a few words about this, the teaching, system of IIHM. Over to you, Mr. Ravi.
I think you've, like I said, I have been seeing the campuses for coincidentally for the last 10 years, and a lot of you are on the call right now. And I think it's more to do with the concept and the infrastructure, and I've always believed in that, not just for your organization, but in general. I think it's the principle, it's the concept. And I think for IIHM, the great thing is the concept of exposing the students to the real world. I mean, on the third day or on the fourth day, you're exposing them to what the future might really look like, instead of just classroom sessions. And I think that's a phenomenal thing. And talking about entrepreneurship right at the beginning of their curriculum, I think that is going to broaden their horizon to the next level. Even if they don't take the path of becoming an entrepreneur, entrepreneurial skills are required in any profession, any which ways. Even if they become corporate professionals tomorrow, I think that is a learning that is going to make them excel far more than possibly others. So I think the whole structure and the way the students are exposed, and the focus on the culinary domain more so, I think that's been, everything is exceptional, to say the least.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ravi. We have come to the end of this session, and a lot of insights and a lot of knowledge, and you answered all the questions very patiently. And before I close, I like to call my colleagues to say the final words about this session. And we have Sanchari ma'am is here from Bangalore campus. Over to you, Sanchari ma'am. Before we close, your final words about this session, and Mr. Ravi.
Thank you so much, Iman. First of all, thank you so much, Ravi, for your wonderful insight to our students. I'm sure, your journey and of course your achievements, everything today that you have told about, like all the achievements, all the challenges that you've in fact faced, and what all the students have to go ahead and overcome, while, their career takes off, and definitely their journey into hospitality. I think that was really nice. It was very motivating, very, very inspiring for not just the students, but also about, all of us. We have really thoroughly enjoyed the connection that we have with you already, throughout the years. And definitely today, with this session, there's a huge energy and positivity, which has in fact gone ahead and exuded in all of us, and definitely our students. So thank you so much, Ravi, for this very inspiring and wonderful session with all of us. And I'm sure, everybody else would also be adding you. This is not going to be the only session that we are having with you. We definitely look forward to having loads of great sessions with you for all our students. Thank you, Ravi. Over to you, man.
Thank you so much, Sanchari ma'am. And we have Rupinder sir is here from Pune. Rupinder sir, over to you. Final words.
It was really nice, Ravi, to hear you once more after such a big gap. When you were in Pune, you were one of the examples I used to cite to all my students when they would ask that, how long will it take for us to reach a position of a general manager? And I used to give your example. I said, look at this gentleman. He's the general manager at the IBIS Pune, and he's, in his early 30s. I think you were, I will not, say the age, but then you were in your very early 30s. And I used to tell that, this is how you can, chart your career, because by the time you will graduate, you'll be somewhere around 21, 22. So this gentleman, see how he has started his career. So take an inspiration, and that's how you should, progress in your career. You should have a focus, and that's the way you should proceed. And today, the way 10 years hence, you have, sort of kept on climbing one up on the other, and you are an inspiration and an icon, I would say. So when I'm speaking to you now with your 20 years of experience behind you, always the same, gentleman who's, soft-spoken yet very articulate. So it was really nice to hear you, and the way you have guided our students was definitely very inspirational. And I'm really looking forward to seeing you in person. Possibly we should be getting a chance to see you sometime in the future. And I would definitely like to, be in touch with you, and would like to have more sessions coming in from your end and being in touch with our IIHM family.
Thank you so much, Mr. Rupinder, for the final words about the session. Quickly, I'd like to call. We have Professor Ghosh. Mr. Ghosh, over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Ravi. That was a very great session taken by you. I'm sure the students have learned a lot from your journey and from your experience, and we hope to meet physically in the future when the pandemic is over, and not virtually. And thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ghosh. And I think we have Ms. Reena from Jaipur.
Hi.
Yes.
Sorry, I have very poor net connectivity today. Thank you so much for today. It was really lovely listening to you, and I'm sure the students have, are taking back a lot of tiny little notes about everything that you said. And yes, they should aspire to be big and bigger. Okay, general manager, yes, getting to where you are, yes, but also dream ahead, like all of us should. Thank you again so much, Mr. Khubchandani. Lovely, lovely, lovely inspirational talks to all of us. Very, very interesting. Thank you. Thank you, Emmanuel, for today.
Thank you. Mr. Ravi, before we close, final words.
Final words. I don't know what am I left with. I must thank all of you to keep reminding me of my strands of gray in every call. But I think it's always lovely to catch up with all the center heads, and it's always amazing to know that you I mean the great work that you're doing, and the students, the influx of students, even against all odds. I think it's phenomenal, and I'm pretty certain that the numbers are going to only grow, and you're going to churn as you've done in the past some amazing hoteliers. I've had the privilege of having a lot of IIHM graduates as my colleague, and they are doing exceptionally well. I think Mr. Bose mentioned Abdullah. The gentleman is actually Mizan, and he always calls him Abdullah, and he's doing also very, very well. He was a colleague of mine. He was an IBIS general manager in the end, and then after that he moved to Canada and he's ventured out to doing something else, which again is a great story, that that there are opportunities beyond conventional hotels for for professionals, for aspiring professionals. And like I said, as always, it was lovely talking to all of you. And my last parting words would be stay safe, stay healthy, because I think that's the most important thing for all of us to do right now, and keep your chin ups. It's just a matter of time, and we're all going to be out of it. So all the very best to all of you and all the students.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ravi, for an inspiring and motivating session. It was very informative and loads of insights. And always, it was a pleasure talking to you, and it's wonderful to hear from you. Thank you so much for joining with us today and taking out, your time in spite of your busy schedule and to interact with our students. It was great learning for every one of us, including the faculty's directors. It's in every one of us we had great lessons, and I'm sure that all your insights and knowledges that our students will be carrying along with them and implementing in their life. And take care and stay safe. And we look forward to see you soon. And I hope we will disturb you more for another more sessions with you. And and thank you so much, all the students who joined with us today morning. And we will meet you in another hospitality talk show with another great leader. So bye bye. Take care, everyone. And signing off from IHM Career Studio, Hyderabad. Thank you, everyone. Bye bye.
little bit of sweetness, and we put in a cap, proper cork, cage, everything label, and we have our machine. But again, that guy's expensive, and even the companies that produce 50 million bottles of champagne, they're still going to have like one or two of these guys. But most of it is all done with what we call automated riddling. So these machines, but basically